What is going on, guys? It's ThePowerBauer 2 here. Now, if you didn't know, I am a huge Mario fan. I grew up with Mario 64 and I became a fan instantly. He has come such a long way since his good old plumbing days with Pauline. Wait, that came out wrong. Nintendo has been creating game after game for this famous Italian for over 30 years now, and some of the greatest games of all time have come from this franchise. So what I decided to do was to make a list of the top 10 Mario games of all time. Now, before we get into this list, I do want to say that obviously some bias will be in this list because they are based on my experiences playing each of these games. But I will obviously be accounting for any leaps in technology or how revolutionary they were for the video game industry. You can probably guess what game I'm talking about. So with all of that out of the way, it is time to get into the top 10 Mario games. Let's do this. The original Super Mario Bros. Game was a massive success, and it left every fan wanting a sequel. Oh god, not that one. Super Mario Bros. 2 is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated Mario games because of just how different it is. It was basically just Doki Doki Panic, but with just Mario characters slapped on top of it. This is because the actual Mario Bros. 2 was deemed too difficult for us dumb Americans. I don't blame them for thinking that. There are many enemies in this game that you'd never see again, but it did introduce some main Mario staples like Shy Guys and of course Birdo. You can travel through magic jars, fly in rocket ships, and you get to battle Wart, who you kill by throwing vegetables at him. I always knew vegetables would be the death of me. You can also play as either Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess Peach. This was the first game to really give you an option of separate characters with differing attributes. This directly influenced some later Mario games. Speaking of which, Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS was a huge success, so it only made sense to bring it to a home console with Super Mario 3D World. This is a 4-player 3D platforming game which had never been done before with the Mario franchise. Although the game is in 3D, the game is very reminiscent of a classic 2D Mario game where the levels are very linear and end with you reaching the flagpole. Unlike other 3D Mario games, this isn't a collectathon type game. Sure, you can collect 3 green stars in every stage, but each stage is much smaller than normal 3D games and, as I said earlier, very linear. I love the variation of the stages in each world, but there is literally an entire world in the game that is just repeats of earlier levels. The stages don't have nearly as much substance as the true 3D Mario games, but that doesn't mean they aren't just beautiful. The 4 players you can play as are Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. Sound familiar? 3D World took inspiration from Super Mario Bros. 2 for its playable characters, and they all have the same attributes. Mario is pretty average in everything, Luigi can jump the highest, Peach can float, and Toad runs the fastest. There's a character for every playstyle. Mario is mostly known for being a platforming god with amazing jumping abilities, but he has had his fair share of RPG games. The Paper Mario franchise is definitely one of the most popular of his RPG games, and the best game in that series is Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. This game is the perfect RPG for a Mario game. The game has so much charm and comedy that doesn't feel forced like some games do. The world is very large, and it's all connected without having an overworld map, which makes you feel like you were actually in the world. Every character is interesting, and all of your companions have great character development, and the game really makes you care about them. The bosses are so much different from other games too. Rockhawk and Dupless are easily 2 of the best bosses in all of Mario games. Plus, Bowser for once isn't the real villain of the game. That would be Grotus and the X-Nox. The final boss is also really unique as it— Wait! It's actually Princess Peach possessed by an ancient demon. Whoever saw that coming? This is one of my personal favorite games of all time, but I know that most people don't consider this a top Mario game, but it definitely deserves to at least be on the list. How many games have been revealed in a movie? I can't think of very many besides Super Mario Bros. 3. The final game of the original Mario Bros. Trilogy was easily the best of the 3. There definitely are people out there who may place this game higher on the list, and I wouldn't blame them. This game introduced the Tanuki suit, which is one of the biggest fan favorite power-ups over the years. There's also a super leaf to make Mario a f***ing raccoon. I never thought I wanted to be a raccoon until this very moment. Unlike the original Mario Bros., the stages don't finish with flagpoles, but instead of roulette that you can get several different cards from. The art style is so unique for this game, and it really sets itself apart from the previous Super Mario Bros. Games. Super Mario Bros. 3 was one of the most successful Mario games and is one of the highest rated games of all time. I mean, it also gave us the frog suit too. You can actually swim with precision to make the water levels more enjoyable. Thank God! Okay, we have reached the point in this video where pretty much any of these games could be switched around based on your experience of them. I know many people would put this higher on the list. Super Mario Galaxy is the 6th best Mario game in my opinion. Super Mario Galaxy took the leap into outer space with 3D Mario games and provided a unique experience that we have never seen. Rosalina and the Comet Observatory is a really unique hub world. The game has tons of galaxies with different challenges to make every star fun. Plus, this game has some of the best music in any video game. Gusty Garden Galaxy was one of the most beloved and most played video game songs for years. years after this game came out. The differing gravity throughout the game was so much fun too. I always loved going to Deep Dark Galaxy and just jumping around this planet. Whee! Plus, when you get all 120 stars, you get to play through the entire game again as Luigi. But weirdly, they didn't change the stars where you rescue Luigi, so you're essentially just saving yourself. It's not the greatest 100% completion reward, but hey, at least it's better than Sunshine's. Speaking of Super Mario Sunshine, it is number 5 on this list. Super Mario Sunshine is easily the most unique 3D Mario game, and it has been criticized heavily over the years. When it first came out, everyone was very skeptical that it wasn't Super Mario 64 again, but it slowly became more and more beloved to the point where some people consider it their favorite Mario game now. Mario lands on Isle Delfino for vacation, but is immediately arrested for making a mess that he didn't make. Real talk, are all the Piantas colorblind or something? Shadow Mario was blue, Mario is red, they don't look alike! Mario uses FLUDD, basically just a sentient super soaker, to clean up Isle Delfino from the mess that Shadow Mario has been creating. You learn that Shadow Mario was actually— wait! He is actually Bowser Jr., who claims that Peach is his mom. Actually, how would that work? Does Bowser stick his huge lizard cock? I don't want to know. There are 96 shine sprites to collect, and the rest are obtained by collecting blue coins. These are scattered across every level, and there are 240 of these damn coins. This game is much more similar to Super Mario 64 than Galaxy is, which I think makes it better for me. Super Mario Galaxy stars are much more linear, while Sunshine has the same sandbox and open world feel that 64 gave us. But hey, I talked about the 100% completion reward. What actually is it? A new picture? Nintendo, what the fuck? Super Mario World is easily the best 2D Mario game ever created. I guess that kind of spoils what the rest of this list will be, but whatever. Super Mario World is much more colorful and vibrant than Mario's previous game, and it did wonders. The game takes place in Dinosaur Land instead of the Mushroom Kingdom, which was a good choice. Super Mario Bros. 3 was the first game to have an overworld, but Super Mario World took that idea and improved it tenfold. The world isn't just squares stuck together in a grid, but instead a real world that flows together perfectly. There are 96 levels, and there's even a Star World with insanely difficult levels to test even the most talented gamers. This has been copied in many Mario games where they now have just a super difficult level at the end of the game, and Mario World started that trend. The game also introduced the Cape Feather, which allows you to fly super high in the sky and glide across the screen. You can break so many levels with this, and it's so much fun. I've said all these good things about this game, and I haven't even mentioned Yoshi yet. This was his first ever appearance, although he was intended to be in the earlier games, but this was his first actual appearance. Yoshi was so beloved that he even received his own game just a few years later, which actually almost made it on this list, but I'm considering that more of a Yoshi game and not a Mario game, even though it's called Super Mario World 2, whatever. You know the old saying where people say that the sequel is never as good? Well, Super Mario Galaxy 2 listened and said, F that. Taking the same mechanics from its predecessor, Super Mario Galaxy 2 created a brand new experience that is reminiscent of the original but has its own flair and style. You of course have your spin attack and the gravity mechanics, but there are many new power-ups. One of these is the Cloud Flower, which is just one of the coolest power-ups ever. It allows you to create a cloud platform below you by spinning, and it's so useful. The bosses are great, and every Bowser Jr. fight feels so much different and provides a different challenge. This was also the first 3D Mario game to include a super difficult level in the perfect run. You have one hit point to try and complete this entire level, and it drove me insane when I was younger, but it feels so rewarding when you finally complete it. They also brought back Yoshi for this game. Every game with Yoshi automatically gets bonus points in my book. Nintendo made a great choice by creating the Mario Galaxy franchise. There is literally an endless amount of unique galaxies that you could create for a brand new experience. I thought they eventually were going to make this into a trilogy, but I guess we can only dream at this point. Remember when I said that I would be accounting for how revolutionary each game was? Well, this is where it comes into play. Super Mario 64 is one of, if not the most influential and revolutionary game of all time. The jump from 2D to 3D is no easy task. I mean, look what happened to Sonic, but Mario did it beautifully. Bowser has stolen 120 stars and has hidden them across several worlds and Peach's castle. This is the true Mario Collectathon that everyone loves. Sure, you can enter a stage for a certain star, but that doesn't mean you have to collect that specific star. You actually have the freedom of choice and aren't forced down a linear path like in the Super Mario Galaxy games. This was the first game to give Mario his iconic triple jump too. Mario got many moves added to his arsenal in this game. He can long jump, side flip, backflip, wall kick, and of course he can break dance. Sure, this game doesn't have the classic power-ups from previous games, but it did give us them wing, metal, and vanish caps. They are much more scarce than previous games, but they're so much fun to use, especially because they have a time limit, which makes them much more balanced and not broken in any way. That being said, however, this is one of the most broken Mario games ever. You can literally beat this game with 0 stars in less than 10 minutes if you were good enough. For reference, you were supposed to collect a minimum of 70 stars to access the final boss. It's insane, but I do recommend collecting all 120 stars, so that you can travel to the top of Princess Peach's castle where, guess who is waiting for us? Nintendo. Take notes. If you want to make an amazing game, include Yoshi somewhere in the game. It clearly works. Super Mario 64 was the most revolutionary Mario game of all time with its open world and 3D visuals. The following Mario games tried to change the formula up, and they were good games. Nobody is saying they are bad, but they just don't have the same feeling as Mario 64. Well, in 2017, Nintendo returned to the roots with the greatest Mario game of all time, Super Mario Odyssey. I think you all saw this one coming. This is the definition of an open world, sandbox Mario Collectathon that is perfect for everyone. Mario's new ability to capture enemies with his cap— oh, I get it. Capture. This is such a unique idea, and you finally get to play as certain enemies like Goombas, Bullet Bills, and then new enemies like this fucking thing. There are power moons all over every stage. You can collect them in pretty much any order you want. No two people's playthroughs will be the same, unless you're a speedrunner, but we're not talking about that. The game does sort of funnel you to certain story-based moons in each kingdom, but there are several kingdoms where you don't even need to complete the story to move on to the next one. Speaking of kingdoms, these are some of the most beautiful settings that Mario has ever traversed through. Seaside Kingdom, Metro Kingdom, Lake Kingdom, Sand Kingdom, Bowser Kingdom are all beautiful and unique Mario worlds. Plus, once you beat the final boss, you can access— wait just one more time! You can access the Mushroom Kingdom and Peach's Castle, which is based on Super Mario 64. Wait, if it's based off Super Mario 64, does that mean Yoshi? I told you every game with him is the best! So those are my top 10 Mario games. Obviously, you likely are going to have the exact same list as me, so let me know what your list is in the comments down below. I am also planning to make a top 10 worst Mario games. I mean, since we looked at the good side, it's only fair to look at the shitty side as well. You can probably guess what games are going to be on that list, but I'm not going to spoil it. Okay, I'll give you one hint. This game will not be on the list. Sorry, I can't even keep a straight face. This game is f***ing trash.